Hello, everybody. Excited to kick off our second episode and series to our Never Alone, which includes shining a spotlight on some of just the incredible organizations within our community that are doing awesome work, supporting others, being change drivers, and really truly making a difference in this space. I can't wait to bring a dear friend of mine, Jamil, to the stage to talk about the incredible organization, the Chrysalis Initiative. So as soon as she gets here, we're going to hear from her and why she started it and all of this amazing work. Hello, beautiful.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Almost Friday.
Yes. Even though the weather is so bizarre here, but we're making it happen.
Yes.
Who knows what's going on? But I am so excited, first of all, to talk about the Chrysalis Initiative with you, with the community. I mean, you told me about this idea, and I have never in my life seen anybody go from concept to launch to fundraising to change making as fast as you have.
Wow, really? Thank you.
You're so impressive. You know I love you so much. But for those that don't know and love you yet, because that's coming, tell us a little bit about the Chrysalis Initiative.
So the Chrysalis Initiative just kind of was birthed on its own. You know, I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, so stage 4 from the start. In 2018, and I was supposed to, I'm the primary breadwinner, married mom of 3 kids, busy executive, and my husband had already gone through cancer. So I'm thinking I'm supposed to be the healthy one. And, our kids were so young, and I just thought, well, I have to learn about breast cancer quick, fast, and in a hurry. Who knew breast cancer was so complicated? I definitely didn't know until I was diagnosed. So I had developed, started, getting involved with advocacy, developed a kind of checklist for myself just to, okay, I'm going to have to still work, because everyone was on my benefits. I had to just kind of keep the same, putting one foot in front of the other. So I had developed this checklist to just keep myself together, all the aspects of comprehensive care. And then as I started just taking care of myself, other women took notice and said, hey, well, they would come into my chemo room and say, well, you seem to be doing okay. Can you share what you know? And it just kind of grew from there. And then People Magazine learned that I was mentoring and helping other women with breast cancer and knew that I had stage 4 breast cancer and had a husband who was going through cancer. And so they did a feature, just a kind of a profile on me. And then me and the family went on Good Morning America, and it just kind of went crazy from there. And so as an advocate, I also learned that Black women were dying at a 40% higher rate from breast cancer. And so being involved with so many different organizations, it was, pretty much the same narrative that, oh, it's due to poverty. It's just, there's nothing we can do about it. Biological reasons, we can kind of piecemeal and provide a couple of solutions here and there, but there's really nothing systemic that we can do. And as I learned more, I found that, well, actually, the biggest contributor is the racism and bias in the care center. So what could we do in order to address that? And so it kind of just birthed from there. Just saying, I'm going to work with other organizations. I launched it on my cancerversary in 2019. And I just started partnering with other organizations that I was already connected to, and just said, what are the ways that we can make sure that we could actually address this problem instead of just piecemealing it. And so one is the wraparound patient navigation for patients. And then it's also working with cancer centers to hold these health systems accountable. You have to have equitable care delivery, and it's just not enough to chalk it up to social determinants of health or, poverty and lack of education or obese. I mean, it just long laundry list of, to me, it just sounds like want excuses. And so now we're saying, you know what, we're going to take ownership and, deal with things on our own. We're not going to wait on anyone to make sure that we're getting the care that we need in order to live, because we're dying. Black women are 71% more likely to die from breast cancer than their white counterparts. That's crazy, and so
it's maddening.
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. And really being the only reason, just being due to not receiving quality standard of care. So that's just not acceptable. And we're going to, one patient, one health system, one at a time, until we're able to make systemic change.
I'm like, there's so much to unpack here. Oh my God, I love your mug. I gotta get one of those.
I have on my Chrysalis shirt too, but you can't see it. So
I before we unpack a lot of what you just shared with us, you are like my superstar. Like, you have had this opportunity, you got out, you shared a story, you spoke for your family, you spoke for so many people, you spoke for the stage 4 metastatic breast cancer community. But you've done so much more even beyond that. Like you said, one organization at a time, one healthcare professional at a time. You're not even at one at a time. You are like just full speed ahead. But you've volunteered for Metaviver. You've chaired Metaviver's board. You and I sit on Living Beyond Breast Cancer's board together. And then you create the Chrysalis Initiative. You start this, and you have a full-time job.
Yes.
With kids.
Yes.
I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea. But I think that there's just
Coffee.
This. Do you sleep?
Yes. It's just coffee. And I mean, really, I'm motivated by my kids. I kind of feel like the Chrysalis Initiative is a compulsion at this point, because based off of all these organizations that I'm connected to, everyone has different strategies. So Living Beyond Breast Cancer, they support people impacted by breast cancer the way that they do. Metaviver, we're specifically focused on increasing the amount of metastatic breast cancer research. I also work with Susan G. Komen that, it's kind of like all of the above, but I'm more so focused on, African American Health Equity Initiative, and also working as far as metastatic patients. So those are all the areas where I can kind of work with them and, use my influence and my voice to help influence what they move forward with. But as an advocate, I was kind of sitting back, and it still looked like there were just these gaping holes, like Swiss cheese, where this particular issue wasn't being addressed. So meaning, yes, we have a whole bunch of attention now on DE&I and equity and disparities. The COVID-19 pandemic revealed that to a lot of, to the common person that wasn't really aware. So there's definitely a lot of more attention focused on it, but I still think that people are still missing that it's the racism, stupid. It's like, it's the bias that is contributing to, the substandard care. So it's not necessarily just pointing to all these different things, which I acknowledge that those are barriers. But in order for us to really be dynamic and make systemic change, those are the areas that we really have to impact. So having that accountability within the system, but then also making sure that we don't have any patients slipping through the cracks. So that because if you're a new patient, you're going in. So imagine you're a Black woman, right? You're diagnosed with breast cancer. You have no idea what you're supposed to know. You want to trust this person, but you're vulnerable, right? You're vulnerable because this person could have some bias that are informing their decisions, or actually they might not even be recognizing your humanity. So we deal with this in education, we deal with this in law enforcement, but now your life is on the line. So that is really where you need somebody to connect and be able to understand that it should be all hands on deck for your life as well. And we know what quality care looks like. It's given to white people all the time. Let's do the same thing, but also understand that we're dealing with people. And so we can't just rely that people are going to do the right thing and that these checks and balances are in place. So let's have more accountability. Let's have more transparency. And let's make sure that, you can provide that quality standard of care and that you're getting that racism out of the way. And that's really where I felt like I had to launch the Chrysalis Initiative in order to address this problem. And then I also just feel that since I'm living with stage 4 breast cancer, the more Black women that I save, it's almost as if I feel like I'm saving myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a compulsion at this point.
You and I have talked a lot over the years, and I think it's a very real point of view when we've talked about the dozens upon dozens of examples that we've both encountered. And I know that my story is not your story, and I know that my story is not my other friends' stories, especially when they are women of color. And it is enraging when we hear these stories, because you think you're going somewhere safe,
Mm-hmm.
that you are going somewhere where you can be listened to and heard. And in so many cases, this is not the reality. And
Right.
this is a lot of work. I mean, this is so much work, and you are tackling it head on. And I have chills all over my body, just even when you talk about it, because, you know, this last year has been a tough year, but it has been a progressive year. And like you said, we've been on this initiative for many, many years as an advocate and activist inside this community. And it was enlightening in certain ways that now people that maybe didn't understand do understand, but now the work starts.
Right.
We don't talk about this anymore. You have got to work on it. That is it. End of story. And I feel like I was actually just, when I was on the chrysalisinitiative.org, you have so many services. Like, I was sitting there going, I'm pretty sure 5 have been added in the last 6 months. I don't even know, but like, this is the work, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have an app.
It's coming. Yes.
Okay, so the app is coming. Can you talk about
Yeah.
the app? Because I think that this is hugely important and very pivotal in the patient care, that is
Yeah.
really going to be a great assistant. So can we spend a few minutes talking about that?
Absolutely. So when we think about the patient navigation and coaching that we provide patients, so a person that has breast cancer is matched with a breast cancer coach who is highly knowledgeable on breast cancer, all the aspects of comprehensive cancer care, and on the Chrysalis Initiative Care Tracker. And so they are supported and reinforced. So even if they happen to be going to or they have an oncologist that is not really, giving them the full quality of care, or they may be experiencing bias, they're going to know, because we're going to point that out to them. So it's almost as if they have like a roadmap, a guide to say, this is actually what care you should be receiving at this point. And then you have the provider side, where the folks that are serious about ensuring that they have equitable care, we have an assessment that we do, come in, lay it all out. We'll tell you where those deficiencies are, and then provide training and support in order to get you where you need to be, so that patients, it's not just enough to have these resources or to have, these procedures and structures in place. What is the impact of the patient when that person, that patient of color, is coming into that system? Are they receiving that same experience? Are they receiving that same level of care? So really, the app is a tool for us to put a spotlight on which providers are equitable, and also to empower patients to have this information in their hands, at all times, connected to their coach. Their system can even opt in to see how they're doing. And their care tracker, all the things that are part of comprehensive care are within the app. So the patient is really empowered to know, am I good here? Almost like that same checklist that I have, that am I getting the best care? Did I take care of this? Is this okay? It's the same thing. So they'll be able to pull up the app, be connected to their coach, have resources with all of our various partners that you see on the website, all of those different resources and information. They'll have those links right within the app. They'll get information that's specifically targeted towards them and their breast cancer. And then, you just have that information right there at your fingertips. So it's really going to enhance the programming and services that we offer right now for patients and providers.
When is it launching?
October.
Oh, yay! That's amazing. amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so everybody keep an eye out. We will
Yes.
100% be sharing, updating, providing any information. I think it's so incredibly important. Let me ask a really naive question. Can anybody use the app?
Yes. I mean, we have white participants too. Disparities and barriers come in all, ages, races, stages, centers, all subtypes. So, but it was born because there was just this dearth
Mm-hmm.
of support or anything customized for Black women with breast cancer.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you sharing that too, because you're 100% right. We have many issues unpacking and being worked on, but this is so pivotal for those that are not privileged in ways where they can go receive optimal care at top rated organizations that are just at their fingertips, because not everybody lives in a city like Philadelphia or
Right.
a major city where you have incredible organizations here in
Mm-hmm.
town, and that's a harsh reality for so many of us living in this country. But
Yes.
I also saw the one-on-one coaching. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I also think that that's just such an impactful way to get connected to
Mm-hmm.
others, and I think that that's such a beautiful service that you provide.
Yeah, I mean, our breast cancer coaches, we match patients with coaches. They have 1 to 3 years of patient advocacy experience. They're all over the country. We typically match them up with people that have similar lifestyles, similar ages, similar treatment history, similar location in the country, and they're able to connect. And even though we have support from our family, from our friends, from caregivers, even our oncologists, even our oncology teams, it's just something about speaking to someone that's been through it and gets it, where that information is going to just resonate that much more. And you feel not as isolated, and seeing someone else that has been through it and could be going through it, because actually 75% of our participants are metastatic. So this is an ongoing
Wow.
thing. They're matched with
Wow.
someone who's metastatic as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to be, I'm getting my scans just like you're getting your scans. It's like we're going one treatment at a time, and so it's just so much more empowering and reinforcing. And you feel that, oh, okay, this person is going through it. I can go through it as well. And we know even with early stage breast cancer, you're really never done with just breast cancer. This is now incorporated into your life. And so even if you're in quote unquote the survivorship stage, you're still matched with someone that talks about, symptom burden and side effects management and resources and how to get back into the swing of things, and kind of incorporating, back into now this being part of your day to day. And what does that look like? And how do you do that? And those questions that you might not be, too excited to ask your doctor about, you now have someone that you can ask anything. And that person is there for you 24/7 primarily. And you can ask them anything they want. And we do the legwork for you. So that's the other thing that's a little different about our coaching, because especially if you're newly diagnosed, it's so overwhelming to have a diagnosis. And that checklist can seem, oh my goodness, that's a lot. But so, for instance, the coach will actually connect you to resources, provide you with the links. We'll type up the emails for you. We'll send off everything, So there's a lot of, we're shaving down that checklist and helping you until you can get to the point where you can take more ownership of it on your own. And it's just that support resource is there. We're always there to listen. We're that thought partner. We're trying to help you make those decisions about, how do I factor in my job? What's covered? What's not? How do I get support? How do I apply for that grant? What are my rights when it comes to work and insurance? And that wasn't covered. And what do I do? And which option should I choose? All those questions, we're there to thought partner with you.
So is this a great segue to invite Siobhan into our live here? So if she's here, I would love to see if we can grab her. I'm going to also see if I can invite her real quick. I think that this is just so incredible, because I know that when I was diagnosed at 27 years old, it was so isolating, and
Mm,
I was never introduced to another young woman. I mean, that was
wow.
really the horrible thing. And I think, it's just about understanding your cancer. I had nobody. So I love these programs where you get matched with somebody who is in your same space and can.
And so many young women these
Hmm.
days, and Black women, we tend to be diagnosed younger, so,
Right, right.
and a lot of Black women, we don't talk about this in our families culturally, and usually if we do have a breast cancer diagnosis, we can't think of anybody else. And in a lot of, I think it's getting better now due to organizations like For the Breast of Us and Tiger
Hmm.
Lily and
Hmm.
Touch, where there are other, and we also have a community of events too, where you can be connected to other, Black women with breast cancer. But for a long time, it was just, we didn't see ourselves.
Right. I did. Hang on one second. I sent a request. Chiffon, if you see it, just accept. We'll see. We'll get her. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
you spoke earlier about some of those disparities that you're addressing. That several of these other organizations, For the Breast of Us, Tiger Lily, Touch, are really working hard to bring these real, true health inequities to the surface.
Yeah.
It's saying she's unable to join. Hold on, maybe she can. Maybe Siobhan, if you can go out of your app. I don't know if your app is updated. You might need to run an update on your app to get into the new live format, or you can try again. Hey, listen, technical difficulties. This is what we do here in
I
live.
know. This is what, we're flexible. Oh, there
Oh,
she
there she
is.
is.
Oh, I love the
Who knows?
hair.
Surprise.
Fabulous.
I'm like I used to be technology savvy, so I'm like, yes. Hello, ladies. Thanks for having me.
Hi.
Oh, we're so happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. I'll let Jamil take it over. I'm really thrilled to hear your story and learn more about you and how the organization's helped you. So we'd love to kick it off. Just if you're open to it, share a little bit about yourself and what your cancer experience has looked like.
Sure. Well, first, I'm Siobhan Morel. I am 40 years old, a mother of two, Chase and Carson. And I am stage 4 metastatic breast cancer with triple negative. And I was actually diagnosed in April of 2019. And I have been going through this journey for the past 2 years. But prior to this journey is what got me here. I, had a history of cystic breast, and I would actually go every 6 months, like clockwork, to get my ultrasounds or um, uh, ultrasounds for my breasts to just ensure that, it was nothing abnormal. Well, back in 2017 and 18, I started to feel a hard lump in which, I actually told the doctor about, and they told me to watch it.
Mm.
And I watched it, and I waited, and I went back, and they told me to watch it again, and wait again, and watch again. And then finally, my breast shape started to change. And my fiance basically was telling me, you should go check that out. And I went again, and they basically said, watch it again. So,
Mm.
in hindsight, after I was diagnosed, here I was walking around with a 6 centimeter lump
Wow.
for for I don't know, for a year and a half, and it basically was told, to me to watch it. Even in before that time, I was just so uncomfortable with um, just the change, the shape, the hardness. And I went to a breast surgeon and asked them to take the lump out anyway, not even knowing whether it was breast cancer or not, and was denied that, only
Mm.
Mm.
to be diagnosed with stage 4 with Mets to my liver 6 months later. And that's how my breast cancer journey began. Um, I was in shock. I was hurt. At that time, I was only 37 years old. And history shows, or even the pre-screening shows, that I don't even qualify for a mammogram until I was 40, which is this year. I turned 40 in May. And it just was so many things. And still at that point, I thought I was getting the best care possible. You believe the doctor. And then I was actually connected to a wonderful, wonderful group of moms, in which at my son's school, who actually connected me to some resources. And they basically said, my resource is your resource. And they connected me to someone who connected me to Jamil, who is actually my breast cancer mentor. And from day one, even before Chrysalis Initiative, Jamil was helping me. She was the person that was on the speakerphone in my oncologist visit. And I have so many experiences that let me know, like, okay, listen, this is not how I am supposed to be treated. And one of them was where I was diagnosed. I said, can I see my scans? I want to actually see the pictures of where they say the tumors are in my actual body. And my sister and my friend went with me to actually go and say, oh, I'm going to go with you. This was pre-COVID, of course. I'm going to go with you to support it. And here it is. My sister and my friend was actually a nurse, and they watched an oncologist tell me a part of my body where something was, and they weren't even showing me that part of my body. It was shocking. So, I left the appointment, and my sister said, don't be distraught, but what the oncologist was just pointing to you was not what you were looking at. So with that being said, we're going to have to go get our treatment elsewhere. And from that point on, I just kept going on, and would come across small barriers in which I knew nothing about. And Chrysalis Initiative is what actually kind of eliminated those barriers for me. Gave me the opportunity when someone told me that I had 6 months left to live. Not Chrysalis Initiative. You need to have backup options.
You better go talk to Jamil.
Yes. 3 treatments at minimum are the backup options that you need to have, from the current treatment that you're on. And they not only tell you that you need to have these 3 things, but they actually walk you through, whether it's a clinical trial, whether it's another drug, whether it's actually emotional support, therapy. Who knew I got free therapy? I do know. Who knew that it was free? The therapy, asking about family, connecting you to all these other therapies that actually help. And there are barriers, whether it's financial, whether it's physical, resources for pain and things like that. Chrysalis Initiative is just like always there. And I always tell Jamil, like, how can we say thank you, to you giving us a second chance at life? And it's so important to be a part of this initiative. And I'll tell you why, because so many women are actually in this same bucket, that Chrysalis Initiative has an advantage that is able to even share everyone's experiences, to even share with you that this is not the right thing. And one of the most recent examples that I can actually give, am I supposed to be waiting for a question, or I'm?
You are amazing. No, I'm so captivated.
Oh, I is taking it on, but yes, at a appointment, a telehealth visit with my oncologist, and my problem area is my liver mets. And I spoke to Jamil, on our weekly call, and she was like, what about this? What about this? What about this? So, sometimes I miss my call because I'm like, my homework ain't done. But this one, I'm like, yeah, I need to talk to Jamil, because I need to figure out what next steps I needed to request from my oncologist to be on top of it. So when I got on, the phone with my oncologist, it wasn't this smile, it was a straight face. Like, I asked you about this test, and they are able to, be held accountable for the information. And most recently I have a victory, because they're like, okay, even though they feel that maybe radiology or interventional radiology request is not something that is beneficial for me right now, going through this process with Jamil and Chrysalis Initiative has prepared the oncologist to tell me to say, but if you feel more comfortable meeting with the radiologist, then I'll schedule the appointment. And I told the oncologist, it's not that I don't trust you. It's just that I have had so many experiences of disparities that I need to ask these closed-ended questions and to go to areas of specialties and hear the answers for myself. And her answer was, no, I actually appreciate it because you are so well versed in your own treatment. You know how to look for your lab numbers. You know the trends. You know the treatments to ask for. You know the education that is out there. And she's telling me that I know all these things. And I'm thinking, like, I got this from Kill. And says, as an oncologist, a patient like you keeps me on my toes. And that's what she said. And it was just such a success story because I started working with Jamil 2 years ago before there was a Chrysalis Initiative. And to hear an oncologist say that lets me know that I was prepared, and that even though I wasn't prepared to be my own advocate, now that I am, I still need Chrysalis Initiative, but, I am able to go in and speak for myself on these disparities, and also share the good news and be transparent about my own life to others. So therefore others, won't go through the same thing, because so many things happen. It's just like the focus on cancer, but it's just not the focus on cancer. It's the focus on family. It's the focus on the emotional stability. It's a focus on financial stability. It's all of these things under one umbrella that you can't get. Well, you can now from one organization, but now that you can get from Chrysalis Initiative.
Absolutely.
I'm blown away. Like, what a beautiful story, and how lucky that you got matched with Jamil, like a total rock star. That's probably like I'm like picturing her on the speakerphone in your oncology office, and they're probably like, who is there? Like, who's on that side?
Where did she come from? What did she do again?
Right. How does she know so much? I mean,
And they get everything ready. Like, have you seen your labs? Have you seen it's like the experience is different. They can't just tell us anything anymore. And that's the good thing about Chrysalis Initiative, is just the resource to be able to prepare, the resource of someone actually caring just as much as about your life as your family.
Absolutely.
you're so brave, and we so appreciate you sharing that side of the story. And your space here and your experience, because I know it takes a lot to share that. And Jamil and I, working in this space for many years now and volunteering ourselves, this is a common story that we hear so often. And I know that's what we're pushing to change, right? We're trying to change that conversation so that's not the case. And I have a weird inkling now. How are you involved with the Chrysalis Initiative now? I feel like are you somebody else's mentor now? Is that how you're paying it for? Because I feel this. I'm like, oh my God, you're incredible.
Not as of yet. I am still in the process of trying to find balance. I am in stage 4, so I am in active treatment, just like Jamil is. So I am still trying to navigate, between my ups and downs. But hopefully, I would love to be someone else's mentor one day. And certainly,
All right. Remember you said that.
Yeah, I did.
Sorry, I put you on the spot. I just feel like
right?
you're so incredible, and somebody needs to hear from you too. And I know balance, especially for self-care, is so important. Finding room to continue to live your life fully, and to what levels you're capable of giving back, and just really incredible. And I'm so honored that you came to share that story with us.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored. Thanks for having me.
Jamil, do you want to add anything? I know that, if there's bits and pieces, like how did you, when you met, right, when you guys met and you hadn't the initiative started yet, like what have you been able to, did this help you create more ideas, more help, more avenues to get there? What's it been like for you on the other side?
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned, I was just connecting to so many women who just wanted to know, well, what is this? What are you doing? And what do you know? And so that made me understand where those gaps were to develop the program, develop in the care tracker, and now it's pretty much that checklist has now been repurposed so many times. So it's now a checklist curriculum for patients. It's a curriculum for providers now. We're now using it for the app. We're now doing professional development and training. And so it really is taking those aspects of comprehensive care. How do you hone in on precision medicine, not just for treatment, but also how do you identify specifically what the gaps are to having quality standard of care for that particular patient, and being able to make sure that as a provider, how do you make sure that bias and assumptions aren't informing your decisions, where now this person could be victim of receiving substandard care? And as a patient, how do you be empowered so that, yes, you can trust your team seeking out people that are well-renowned and well-respected, but trust and verify, know what those standards of care are, know what other resources are there, and understand that you don't have to muddle through. So you can still, even whatever stage of breast cancer that you're in, there's always a solution to every challenge. So meaning whether it's side effects and quality of life, financial, whatever that barrier is, our core focus is identifying the best treatment, making sure that it's as targeted and specific as possible so that you have the most durable response, right? And dealing with whatever barriers get in the way to block you or hinder you from adhering to that treatment. So we're going to make sure that you stay on task, whether it's financial or insurance or household stuff or family or behavior or emotional or side effects. There's always a solution to all of these challenges. And so knowing that this is part of your life, how do you structure everything? How do you tap into those resources? And you don't have to deal with it alone. Never alone, right?
Yes, but you're going to steal my next question. But I think that's so impactful for I just keep leaning into, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And having that resource very early on is so empowering, because
earlier the better.
The earlier the better, because and Siobhan, I hate that this was your experience, but it starts in that doctor's office where you came in with a different kind of lump. You already knew that this lump was different. You told everybody, and it's I scream and yell at every single person that tells me that they find a lump. I'm like, you do not leave that doctor's office until you receive at least one screening tool. I don't care if you have to sit in the waiting room all day until they write the script, because all those doctors have to do is write the script.
Yep.
But I'm
very transparent with my story, and I share on my Facebook page and everything, and I tell everyone that a second opinion does not start with diagnosis. And I felt like it. I felt uneasy when they said, oh no, the surgery, can't remove the lump. And I thought to myself, if I just would have said, just what we do when we are diagnosed, when someone else tells us that, no is the answer, we don't want to take no, we go get that second opinion. So the second opinion does not always start with diagnosis.
100%. That was beautifully said. Really, we just got a great question here. An awesome supporter and caregiver is here tuning in and wants to talk about if there's any support groups or ways that they can get involved with supporting those of us that get diagnosed with breast cancer. Jamil, is there anything in the pipeline for caregivers in the Chrysalis Initiative?
Oh, we have caregiver coaches as well.
Look at that. Wow.
Well,
amazing. So tell us a little bit about that.
So that's the other thing that's great about the app that comes out, because the patient can have other people opt in to see how they're doing. So meaning,
I don't know what's
um,
going on. I'm just trying
I
to
know.
get to the messages. Sorry, ignore me. Keep talking. I'm like, what is
And
happening?
so, I think, again, breast cancer is so complicated, and really, I think we want to take the burden off patients until they can get to the point where they, like Siobhan, she is going through the program and she's so empowered. She advocates for herself, like she's on it. It's like second nature to her. So we want patients, until they get to that point, for them to be fully supported. And so caregivers as well, it's a lot on them. And so we want them to focus on supporting, the participant and the patient as much as possible. They don't have to become knowledgeable as much as an oncologist or know as much as we do.
Mhm.
And so they're going to take that time to learn and understand how they can support the patient as best as they can. And it's a learning experience. So this gives them that bridge to have that running room now that that patient is fully supported by Chrysalis. The caregiver is also learning from other caregivers about what different ways that they can support. They're tuned into how their loved one is doing, but it's also a reprieve. And we connect them to resources as well externally about, therapy, resources, grants, and just knowledge, so that they understand because now their life has changed as well. They now have to figure out, okay, how can I fully support this person?
Mhm.
And then also make sure that I don't sacrifice myself when it comes to self-care. And so a lot of times we also have these challenges when it comes to relationships and kids. And so we connect people to a lot of different resources that they can tap into that, because a lot of times they don't realize this is a big part of cancer as well. It's not just the treatment, it's everything else. It's all of the above. And so you have to deal with that too. But as far as support resources, typically for the Chrysalis Initiative, we match you with your coach. But if you're interested in a group setting, we do have so many different partners that we work with. And it just depends on your preference. You can join support groups. People are still joining in person. There's virtual a lot more nowadays. There's phone. And then typically we have ways for our participants to come together when we have like our events going on. But support groups, there's so many resources, and we connect participants, caregivers, and patients to support groups if they're interested in that, if they want like an additional group layering of support.
And
I mean, this is, go
I
ahead.
experience that this is one of the other most important things. I'm going to give them a call to action, because the person who asked that question is my fiance, Marvin Lazenberry.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Love him. Oh my
I-
gosh.
a power team making changes in the breast cancer community.
All right. You might have to match him up with a caregiver coach.
Yeah, so I'm thankful for his support, and it's questions like his that actually kind of, create a bridge between patients and family members, supporters, caregivers, because it definitely is hard.
Yeah.
Your loved one is diagnosed with breast cancer, and it's definitely hard for the patient as well, because we don't really know what our loved one feels.
Yeah.
So those types of resources that the Chrysalis Initiative offers it builds families, and it
Keeps them together.
strengthens them. Yeah. And I'm an example of that as well.
Siobhan,
So,
I always say that we can't do this alone. And at Ana Ono, our slogan is never alone. So before we say goodbye to you, I would just love if you wouldn't mind sharing, what does those two words mean to you? What does never alone mean to you?
never alone means to me that you'll have someone with you through the ups, the downs, all the way through to the end. And the end is not referenced as death. Now that I actually hear those words, when I actually was diagnosed, that was like at the forefront of my mind, like when it's like never alone on the next treatment, never alone when you need a resource, never alone when you need support, never alone when you need encouragement, never alone when you actually just simply need a cry, or so those words, never alone, stands mighty, in my life, because it's the one thing that we don't want to feel. And that's never alone.
Amazing. And I know that we're never alone with the Chrysalis Initiative. I know that, Shafan, you are beautiful, you are strong, you are brave. Thank you for coming out and sharing your story. And we'll say goodbye to you for now, but we will also say we will see you later as well. So thank you for coming out and sharing.
Thank you.
All right, talk to you
See you in a
soon.
bit. Jamil, I'm just so proud of you. Hearing Shafan's story was just really, really impactful. And this is the reality that I know you and I hear every day. And it's great to just shine a light on these realities in so many ways. So before we wrap up, I want you to share, how can people help you help others? What do you need? We need fundraising, we need donors, volunteers, all of it. But tell us how we get involved, because this is just incredible.
All of the above. So please, go to the Chrysalis. Check. Yes. So please go to the chrysalisinitiative.org and donate, please. Follow us on social media, get involved, see what we're doing. We need to be connected to cancer centers. We need, more coaches. We need volunteers. So all of that is helpful. Tune into us, connect with us in order to get involved. There's so many women that need your help. We have so many cancer centers that we're now connected to. We have individual patients that refer to us, but we also have pipelines of patients that are just lacking resources right now and need that support. And of course, we need that support to get the app going and keeping everything on target. And I like to hire some more people.
Amen. You can't do it all. You can't do it all. You're a superwoman, but sometimes superwomen do have limitations.
Exactly. Yes. So, we don't have clone technology yet. And so, all of that is going to just provide so much more infusion and support and enable us to stay on target for our growth because the need is so great. And right now, I just don't see anybody else doing what we're doing. And the need is so great. We really need to support so many people that really need us right now. So
I'm going to do the shameless ask. $5. $10, $50, $100. Please go to the chrysalisinitiative.org. We are going to have links down in the recap. We're sharing all of this throughout the entire month of July in effort to support. And of course, if you want to shop Ana Ono for the organization to receive 10% of your purchase, that will be all day, every day, all year long. We'll have the links all over the place. But we just want to give back in our own way, and of course supporting you and supporting this super duper important initiative on many, many levels. And I am honored that I get to call you a friend. I appreciate you being so strong and brave as well, and just thank you so much for sharing everything that you shared. We could talk for hours, but Instagram kicks us off, so
But thank you so much. You have definitely been an inspiration for me, just seeing how you took your challenge and decided, you know what, I don't see this being done. I don't see a resource for us. Let me just start my own thing in order to deal with it. I kind of did the same thing where it was like, you know what, we're not waiting anymore. Let's just, keep it moving and do our own thing. And it empowers us to not just help ourselves, but so many others. So thank
100%. You. All right. I can't wait to hug you in real life again soon. And love you. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye. Thanks, everybody.